Today I'm looking at making a box with the Hexagon Petal Box dies. So this is your base and this is your main worker top die, but for this project I'm only going to be using the lid die. Okay, the cardstock I've chosen to use is the Crafter's Companion Luxury Gold cardstock, and I'm going to be using that in the matte mirror and also in the glitter. And for the main box part I've actually chosen the Crafter's Companion Gold Snowflake Acetate. Okay, now you may look at the acetate and think it's a bit creamy and milky, but this is the piece I've taken off here, and you'll see if you peel this away, if I hold it up like that, you'll see the difference between it looking milky and it looking lovely and clear. So I haven't taken my backing off, and I'm not going to take my backing off until I've actually done my score lines. So let me bring my scoreboard in. So I've got the Score Master here, and I've cut my A4. So this is A4 in length, which doesn't really matter if it's a little bit over or not, because it just means your seam will be longer. So that's 11 3/4 inches, and I've cut this down to 7 inches. So on the long side, so I'm looking at where my film is, it's on this side, so I'm going to actually score on top of my film so I don't mark my acetate. So I'm going to score on the box base at 1 3/4 inch increments. So I'm going to go in at 1 3/4 and just score your acetate all the way up. Remember, we've got that protective cover, so I'm not too concerned. And I'm then going to score again at 3 1/2. Okay, so 1 3/4, 3 1/2. I'm then going to burnish that line and butt that back up again. I'm not going to go too far across because I find you get a better true measurement doing it this way. So just be careful with your acetate to hold it still. It isn't very easy, but it's well worth it when you see the impact of the box. So again, 1 3/4 and 3 1/2. Okay, again I'm going to burnish that score line, so just by putting it between my forefinger and my thumb, I can just burnish that across. And then again going in for the last 2 score lines at 1 3/4 and 3 1/2. Okay, so that's all my score lines done, and then I'm just going to burnish the ones I haven't done already. So just again going in with my forefinger and my thumb, just lining up, and I've got those nice score lines on there. Okay, so don't worry about this flap here, because this is going to be the flap that's going to open and shut our box. Now yours might be a little bit smaller, might be a little bit deeper, but it doesn't actually matter. So the next thing I want to do is I want to score up. So I've got the little flat piece at the bottom here, so I want to butt it up to the side, and I'm going to score in, because this is now measuring 7 inches across. I'm going to come in at 1 1/2 inches, and I'm only going to go over 1, 2, 3 panels. So again on box base 1 1/2 inches, and I'm going up to 1, 2 panels, 3 panels. Okay, so that's 1 1/2 inches, and then I could actually come in from this side at 1 1/2 inches. That's 7, so that's going to make that 5 1/2 inches. Oh, has that slipped? So that's 7. Yeah, that's going to be 5 1/2 inches, and again just up those first 3 lines. Okay, so I've got the 2 score lines in there. I'm going to move my board out the way and then find the end of my acetate, so where my little bit is, the coating, and then just pulling that off, and you can see the difference. It always amazes me when I see this. I think it looks fantastic. And then with a pair of scissors, I'm just going to cut up those 2 score lines. Okay. And I'm only going to want to put, and I'm going to use my tape runner for this because I think this works really well with the acetate. You don't see it very well. I'm just going to put some tape pen on these 2 little flaps to join in. Okay, so let me just lay that down. I'm going to turn this round so I can work with it a bit easier. So just take your tape pen down and flick, and then on this one as well, and then you're going to join these 2 together at the end. And because we've used the tape pen, you don't see much of the adhesive at all, so I find the tape pens work really well for this. Okay, so can you see that? So that is going to be our hexagon, and that's going to go inside there to cause our flaps. That's the main part of our box. So now let's work on the lids. So I've already cut one lid out, so I'm using my large Gemini for this because the die fits perfectly on here. And if I get the large worker die, so this is my large worker die that I'm going to need to take out. So you can see I've already cut one out there, so you can actually cut 2 out of one sheet of your luxury cardstock, which is perfect. So to make boxes like this, it works out quite economical. So I've just popped a bit of tape in to hold that in place, and then the normal sandwich, and then I'm going to pop that through my machine. That's been through my machine. Okay, literally falling out, as you can see. Now you will notice when you use these dies, okay, that you've got score lines as well as cut lines. Let me just pop that back on my base. So you can see you've got score lines and cut lines, and here is the little slit that's going to help bring your box together. So the first thing you're going to do is to burnish all your score lines. So just with your hands, you can use your tool if you like as well, just to burnish those. The 2 little tabs this end are the ones you're going to need to glue. Okay, and also that one just there. Okay, so they're going to be your gluing ones, and then you're just going to fold all these ones inwards. So this is a petal lid box. Okay, so we're going to make lovely petal lids. Now you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to burnish those score lines? The easiest way I found to do it is fold it in half, and then with your forefinger and your thumb, if you gently just bend the cardstock, can you see you're getting that shape coming up? So if you just keep doing that, because what you're doing is you're changing the structure of the paper. So you're changing the paper fibres from going flat to having that beautiful shape. So just doing that on all of those with your finger and your forethumb, just to give that beautiful shape. Alright, and then also at this stage, this is where I would decorate my box, because it's easier to decorate your box while it's flat than when you've got it all glued together. So if you look on the outside here, I'm just going in with my finger and my forefinger and my thumb, and just gently bending that cardstock. This is luxury cardstock, so it's got a good weight about it, but you can see I'm having no problems whatsoever. So as I said, this would be the stage where I would then decorate this. And what I've done to decorate mine is I've actually used the glitter cardstock. So I'll bring in mine that I've already decorated. So I've used the glitter cardstock, and I've die cut this out using all these elements that are actually in your dies. So you've got enough of these rectangles to go all the way along, and you've got enough of this beautiful triangular shape to go all the way along as well. So if you take those outer dies off and just cut your luxury glitter card, and it cuts through there beautifully. And I think, if I remember, I actually did use my metal shim in my Gemini to get a nice crisp cut on that. You've got all these lovely patterns as well, so if you're making other boxes, you could cut out the pattern shape. You could actually die cut the pattern shape out in your card, but for this project I'm not going to. So this is one with my glitter card stuck on. I've already started folding this together. You see you've got a little slit here, and this is going to be where we're going to attach this. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put some glue on this outside edge. So put a little bit of tacky on here. You could use your tacky or your all-purpose, and then just join those two together, and you do just have to wait a minute for it to grab. Okay, alright, let's just let that grab, and if you've got any seeping out, this is the time to wipe it away. So just pushing that together, and if you want to, another little top tip, you could just use your household pegs, you could use little office paper clips. It just means that you could be doing something else while that is actually going on. So this is what we are actually going to be looking at doing. Okay, isn't that absolutely beautiful? And you probably think, how are you going to do that? But all the work's been done for you with the dies, with the die cutting and the scoring. But it's absolutely stunning, isn't it? A little bit poking up there. I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue behind that, because I don't like that sticking up there. So I'll just put a little bit of glue there. So, but I think it works really well with the, you know, just by having the same luxury cardstock and putting those together. So that should have taken off enough now. So I've just given that time for that seam to properly dry, and you do need to give that properly time to dry, because then you're going to gradually bend in your petals, because this is your petal box lid, and just coax them in gently, and you'll see that's where they're going to go. Now you will see that I've popped a little bit of double-sided tape on my tab, so it's going to make it easier when it's going through the hole. So as you can see, if we close up, it's going over this piece here where the hole is for the tab. So it's going to go over here. So I'm going to put it back on the counter. It's easier to do on a counter because you can sort of hold it in the palm of your hand and tease it down. Okay, and then that needs to go through there. Just take your time with that, getting that through. And then at this stage, this is where I tend to just go in with my fingers and make sure my petals are all where they are, and they are beautifully. They've done absolutely beautifully. The score lines are there for you with the die, and because we've burnished those folds with our thumb and forefinger, we've got that nice shape. So now all that's to do is to take the backing off my little tab. Just pushing that down there so we get a nice clean look. So I just take the backing off that. Could use wet glue as well, you just got to wait for that to dry, but I've just put a bit of double-sided tape on it for quickness, so I can keep that all attached. So I'll just take that off there and get hold of that. Okay, and then that sticks on the inside of the box rim. So let me just show you that there. That sticks on that inside just there. Okay, so I've just used double-sided tape for that. Okay, so that is my second one done. So we can now glue this to its shape. Isn't it just lovely the way it just sits there? It's just gorgeous. There's so many things you could do. You could join two of these together and have them hanging on the tree as Christmas decorations. They're just beautiful. There's just so many ways you could use these. I've already stuck the first one to my box, so now we're going to stick this end on. So to do this, I've just gone in with the Calal glue this time. So I've got a nice clear glue. I know the tacky does dry clear as well, but I've gone in with the Calal, so just all the way round on those joints as well, just making sure you've got enough glue on there. And then if you look at your box, and you can see where you got your last one with the hinge, so I've got that at the back of my box. I'm going to do exactly the same with this one, so just pop this in here, positioning that in place, and then if you open up your door, and then I find it's quite nice just to go round and with your hand just push those in position, so we know with the glue is getting a nice stick. Okay, so just take your time with that, and that will just take a little while to take off, but you can see how the box is coming together. I could add a ribbon for the mechanism at the front, but actually I don't think I'm going to. I could tie it with a ribbon there. Don't know whether to or not actually, so I could have a ribbon there so they know where to open it. Shall we do a ribbon fastening? Oh, let's do a ribbon fastening then. So I had some ribbon put away here, some nice gold, should fit in quite nicely. So I'm going to need to put a little bit of double-sided tape, I think, on that to attach this. So if I look at my box, I've got 3 parts that this is open, so I'm only going to need it there, and I'm going to have it actually in the middle. So I'm just sort of guesstimating the middle. Okay, so I'm just going over each of the panels. Put that on the inside a minute. That'll do there, and I'll just trim that off and then attach some ribbon. So this is quite nice actually, because it will give a closure, so whoever receives it knows where to open it from. So it allows some to tie it up with, and then just gently have my ribbon attached, and then just cut a length off there. Okay, so that is my box complete with the bow. Now you could put anything you like in this gift box. It's just a lovely gift box really for anything at all. But my feeling was, we buy these packets of sweets, okay, nice toffees, beautiful colours, great to give to people, but you wouldn't give them to them in that packet, would you, because they don't look very nice. But once we put them in something like this, pop them in there, this makes a great way to make an inexpensive gift look expensive. Great if you're doing craft stalls for charity or anything. Good for teachers' gifts. So the toffees just pop in there. You've got your flap opening that's just going to tuck on the inside. Oh, we've got a toffee that's got away. So we'll pop that one in there too. So tuck that on the inside. Tie the ribbon. And doesn't that look absolutely luxurious as a gift? It looks like you've taken hours and hours to create a beautiful box like this, but actually it's taken no time at all because the dies have done all the work for us. So it's just a little different take on a gift box. Okay, and another way I also did it was doing the same for the top, but then I actually used the base dies so you could have a standing up box. So just by using your acetate as your add-on to make your boxes bigger, you can do all sorts of things with these box dies. So have fun with them and create something different to give your gifts in.